The sun burns in the sky like the face of God. We do not know his countenance is terrible. His light is diffused in the air, and the light of God is diffused by Hagia Sophia. We do not see the blinding one in black emptiness. He speaks to us gently in 10,000 things, in which his light is one fullness and one wisdom. Thus he shines not on them, but from within. Such is the loving kindness of wisdom. All the perfections of created things are also in God, and therefore he is at once Father and Mother. As Father, he stands in solitary might surrounded by darkness. As Mother, his shining is diffused, embracing all his creatures with merciful tenderness and light. The diffused shining of God is Hagia Sophia. We call her his glory, and Sophia, his power, is experienced only as mercy and love. Those words are from Thomas Merton's Hagia Sophia. And here we are at the end. Now, so what is this Sophiology thing? What is it? I would have to say that if you take away anything from this seminar, take away that attention, the epoche, the approaching phenomena without prejudgments, are what allows participation. Your participation in the world and the world's participation in you. And that this is Sophiology. You're already doing Sophiology if you're doing that. And then, then you can read the different Sophiologists to share their insights. So Merleau-Ponty points out another's gaze is another entrance into a thing. But what's important is this participation allows you to see that that our participation in the world is simultaneously material, conditioned by seasons, by weather. Like right now, I'm dealing with the wind, and but it's also cosmic. Participation in the divine order. That's why there was such wisdom in, no pun intended, such wisdom in the church's, the Catholic Church's organization of the festival year that was so intimately connected with the agricultural year. We've become estranged from that in the last decade, the last century, really. But with industrialization and so forth, we're just more and more disconnected from the world. And I think a case in point is in the United States, for instance, the U.S. Council of Catholic Bishops has countenanced in some dioceses, it's up to the bishop, I guess, to move major feast days from their feast day to the following Sunday. For instance, the feast of the Transfiguration of the Ascension. It always happens on a Thursday, but now we have Ascension Sunday. That's kind of a violence against Sophiology. And before this wisdom persisted in the church for centuries and centuries. And now it wasn't, I don't think, necessarily from the beginning. This consciously developed. I think over time, what happened with church custom and folk custom intertwined, which I think is really beautiful. But there are no folk customs now. For instance, in England, England kept a really, and even the Anglican Church and the Episcopalian Church, they maintained some of these customs with, for instance, the Feast of Lammas in the beginning of August, which Lammas means loaf mass. And that was the harvest festival of the first harvest and the first making of bread from the grain from that year's harvest. But it's also Eucharistic. You know, how beautiful is that, right? But we are distanced from that. I mean, we buy most of our food packaged from a store. We don't have a relationship to the land like these people did before. So there's a lot of wisdom, again, in those folk customs. And how do we bring them back, or how do we reimagine them to fit our postmodern lifestyles? That's maybe perhaps the task before us. But I think we are cosmologically disassociated with in our condition. We don't participate in the world. We are disinterested or sometimes interested observers, but we're not part of it. And that's Sophiology says you're part of it. And how do you act in that kind of congruence with reality? Those are the task before us. Now, there are so many things we can do. But I also think that if you learn anything from here, this congruence with reality kind of affirms, to a certain degree, the natural world and that which shines through it. And as John Milbank talks about, you know, what he takes from Sophiology, one of the things anyway, is that gendered typology becomes revealed in its glory. That's a beautiful thing. Gender is a beautiful thing. Now, another Orthodox theologian, Paul of Duckemove, who died, I think, in the 70s or 80s. He's been gone for a while. He wrote a book on the feminine, very much inspired by Sophiology. Woman and the Salvation of the World is the name of the book. And he noticed this is back in 1958, I think he wrote the book. He noticed then that there was a disconnect in our world, and then you can imagine in the 50s, you know, the way the position of women in society was very different from what it is now, as prior to the women's liberation movement, for instance. But his problem wasn't with how women were. His problem was with how men were. You know, he was worried about the state of women, but he was more worried about the state of men because they were in a state of pathology. And I shouldn't say all men, but and I think, you know, what he says in this book applies profoundly to church governance, for instance, and the seminary life, which seems pretty disordered to me, as at least what we've been hearing through reports in the media about the so-called Catholic Church sex scandal. And it's pathological, is what it is. It's a sickness. And here's what he says in this book, and you can apply this to what's going on, what has been happening in seminaries. I don't know if it still is all the time. The modern, profoundly masculine world, where the feminine charism plays no role whatsoever, is more and more a world without God, for it has no mother, and God cannot be born in it. It is typical that in such an atmosphere, homosexuality asserts itself openly. And this is what was happening in the seminaries, right? This disease of psychic splitting. Get that? Psychic splitting. A failure in the integration of the soul's male and female elements reveals a male who resides either entirely in his subconscious, in the feminine part of his soul, or entirely on the surface, where he is polygamous. The infinitely vitiated Don Juan mentality. Oh my goodness. That's it, right? that is describing the pathologies of men. I mean, not that men are pathological, but those are the pathologies they have, amongst others. Such are the most symptomatic signs of a psychic state that has lost all its sensitivity toward archetypal feminine value, that of the Virgin Mother. The too masculine world disregards its eternal origins, the clear fountain of virginal purity, and the maternal womb that receives the word and brings it forth to make of men his servants. You know, and I go on in my discussion in the Submerged Reality about these words. You know, we have had how many decades of feminism, and we live, I think, in a world that's more fragmented than ever, more polarized than ever. And Carl Jung, the Jungians, for instance, would describe that polarization as a psychological disorder. It's a failure to integrate the shadow or the opposite. And Jung calls this the mysterium conjunctionis, the mystery of the conjunction, right? The union of opposites, which is what marriage is, right? Marriage, a man and a woman, are opposite, and they're united because, in Jung's typology, the man needs to integrate the feminine, and the woman needs to integrate the masculine. And you could say the same thing with our relationship to nature. It's pathological, and we need to somehow integrate our relationships with nature. You know, the self and other, the self and nature, and Sophiology is the way to do this, because Sophiology bestows upon us a congruence with nature. It allows us to see the world as it is, you know, because it takes full account of what the world is. And the world is not just this physical environment. No. It takes into account the cosmos. It takes into account the interior worlds. Right? So it's an integrated, holistic picture of how things are. That's why I have received some criticisms, little heat, on the Submerged Reality, because in the beginning chapters, one of the things I go on about is, you know, GMO foods and things like this, because the problem is that they appear to be something that they're not. You know, they're simulacra. They're like, if artificial intelligence is the same thing, it appears to be something and it's not. And that's disorder right there. That's a disordered relationship to nature. And so, in Sophiology, what we require is an ordered relationship to nature. Because his beauty shines through the whole universe. So I'm going to finish with a little bit from chapter 7 of the Book of Wisdom. For in her is the spirit of understanding, holy, one, manifold, subtle, eloquent, active, undefiled, sure, sweet, loving that which is good, quick, which nothing hindereth, beneficent, gentle, kind, steadfast, assured, secure, having all power, overseeing all things, and containing all spirits, intelligible, pure, subtle. For wisdom is more active than all active things, and reacheth everywhere by reason of her purity. For she is a vapor of the power of God, and a certain pure emanation of the glory of the Almighty God. And therefore no defiled thing cometh into her. For she is the brightness of eternal light, and the unspotted mirror of God's majesty, and the image of his goodness. In being but one, she can do all things, and remaining in herself the same, she reneweth all things. And through nations conveyeth herself unto holy souls, she maketh the friends of God and prophets. For God loveth none but him that dwelleth with wisdom, For she is more beautiful than the sun, and above all the order of the stars, being compared with the light she is found before it. For after this cometh night, but no evil can overcome wisdom. And so thank you for sharing these 10 weeks, 10 lectures with me. And